Hello, I'm the Media Dusk, and welcome to the very first episode of Comedy Critiques, a show that's going to be about reviewing, as I said before, comedies, both good and bad. I'm mostly going to be sticking with movies, but I can stretch myself to either TV shows, anime, screenplays, just something that I can talk about and has to do with making people laugh. While most people may or may not know this, comedy takes a lot of effort and a lot of talent to pull off well. And that's what this show is going to be all about. Diving into the strengths of a well-made comedy, scrutinizing the flaws of a poorly made one, and even showing some underrated gems that many people may not know about. And while the film we're looking at today does fall into the latter category, I don't know if I would call it a gem by any stretch of the imagination. Yep, looks like something that'll last throughout the ages, won't it? Great way to start out the first episode. So I'm going to assume you all know what the original series, Scooby-Doo Where Are You is about, and if you don't, I'm honestly very surprised about that. But if you don't, Scooby-Doo Where Are You is a cartoon series that was made in 1969 by Hanna-Barbera Productions. It focused on a group of teenagers and their talking dog, the titular Scooby-Doo, solving mysteries, mainly involving criminals in costumes who try to scare the gang away, but they would ultimately get unmasked and foiled by the end of the episode. Or, as they would put it, meddled. Honestly, it's been a while since I've seen a single episode of the series, so I can't really comment on if it's good or not. But what I do know is that there's a whole slew of TV shows and movies that came out of this. This series got so many spin-offs that I'm honestly surprised that this cash cow still has milk left in it. And this film here, Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, pretty much is evidence to me that Hanna-Barbera are more concerned about quantity over quality. Now keep in mind that movies like this are not going to be what this whole show is going to be about. I mean, we're going to look at bad stuff, sure, but we're also going to look at good stuff as well, like Blackadder, The Untouchables, Monty Python, and so forth. So, something like this is just more to break the ice on this first episode. So, with that in mind, let's take a look at Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. So the film starts on a dark, stormy night, as a red van drives up to the screen, and the title pops up with a flash of lightning. Ooh!
Writing? Like, don't you mean lightning, Scoop?
So, along with talking, Scooby-Doo also has Deadpool-style fourth wall-breaking abilities. Now, those are two franchises I never thought I'd see together. Okay, so we have a cast of 3 characters for this film. Scooby, Shaggy, and, of course...
Hey, don't forget about me!
Yep. Cat's out of the bag now. Or puppy, I should say. That's right, folks. Scrappy Doo's in this movie, and he's pretty much doing what you would expect. He's trying to act tough, he fails at being tough, he makes bad jokes, he's yelling puppy power. He does all the stuff that would get under your skin very quickly. But as the film goes on, he becomes a lot more tolerable. Simply put, he's not the worst thing about this movie. You keep that in mind, and we'll get back to that in a little while. So it turns out the 3 of them are on their way to an all-girls school for Shaggy's new job as a gym teacher. Which makes me wonder, how did he get a teaching degree in the first place? But only to find out that it's not a girls' school at all. It's a ghoul school! Not funny.
Looks like there's no one home. We'll come back some other time.
Once they reluctantly make it inside, they meet the head of the school, Miss Grimwood, their pet dragon Matches, not Thing, and her students. A vampire named Sabella, a werewolf named Winnie, a Frankenstein's monster named Elsa, a ghost named Phantasma, and a mummy named Tanis. All of them are daughters of famous monsters like Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, etc. And they need Shaggy to help them win their annual volleyball game against their rival school, the Callaway Cadets.
We need a coach with spirit who can show us all the right moves.
Well,
Oh yeah, because these two look like they know a thing or two about sports. I mean, Scrappy I can understand a little bit because he does all the weights training, but why Shaggy and Scooby? What do they have to offer? I mean, was Shaggy just some great athlete in his time before he turned to drugs with Scooby? Okay, I know, the drugs thing is really old with Shaggy. I'll keep that to a minimum. So the next day, Shaggy starts the girls' training by teaching them ballet. And when Scooby's about to join, he sticks his tail inside a piranha bowl, which leads to a gag that would make me sincerely worried for anyone who didn't see that coming.
That's no goldfish, Scrappy. That's our pet piranha.
I think the part that gets me the most is how the girls just assume that Scooby is showing them some ballet move and just blindly follow him without a second thought. Jeez, the quality for private school's really gone downhill these days. But those girls had better hurry up, as we see the Callaway boys spying on them. Nah, you can do worse than an all-boys school. to try and study them to figure out tactics for their volleyball match.
Looks like those girls are doing some sort of weird ritual. I'm not surprised.
And apparently having a military education also means you don't know what ballet is. I mean, what, do they think baking cookies is a form of alchemy too?
I see you have been observing your opponents,
Yes, sir. Callaway cadets are always prepared.
but you haven't been practicing, and I'm challenging Miss Grimwood's school to our annual volleyball match. Keep practicing, men.
Yes, sir.
So while the Callaway boys try and fail to train for the match, we see Shaggy and Scooby train the Grimwood girls in their own way. And by train, I mean show a bunch of gags about eating rotten food and how they don't understand the weird ways of the girl monster.
While we're like stacking, you girls get cracking. Meet you back at the school.
Yeah, sure. Just leave the little girls behind in the dark woods without any adult supervision at all. I'm sure that'll make you a great qualified teacher, Shaggy.
This is good for the heart. Mine are both beating fast.
And now I think is a good time to mention the film's biggest flaw. That everything these girls say, that everything every character says in this movie, is some kind of monster-related pun. And I mean everything they say.
Fantastic to meet you. It's a real howl. Ballet really makes me unwind.
They sometimes bite the hand that feeds them.
You bet I will.
Scream 2, 3, 4. Howl 2, 3, 4. Like that's keeping your cape in shape, Sabella?
Thanks a lot, Shaggy. And I'm keeping my tape in shape.
Allow me to break the ice.
So while I think this is the worst thing about the movie, it's not just because they're all puns, so they're automatically bad. Because that's a big claim to make, and one that I think is not true either. Puns have been used by some of the world's greatest comedy playwrights, William Shakespeare, Oscar Wilde, George Carlin. Even the Roman playwright Plautus was famous for creating puns in Latin. So while it's one thing to say that puns have been around since the beginning of time, are they still funny now? Yeah, absolutely. Puns are a form of humor that rely on layers, by exploiting multiple meanings of words, but also using similar sounding words, in order to create a rhetorical effect. There's a large variety of different pun types, but they all rely on the similar idea. Taking an expression and replacing a word with that with something similar, but also something so unexpected that you have to laugh at it.
I'm gonna slay you?
But not only are the puns in this film predictable and lame, they're also the only jokes being used, and they take up so much of the running time, which means they wear out their welcome way too fast. Now this is what I mean about comedy taking a lot of effort to do right, and it's painfully clear that no effort was put into this. Just write down the first jokes that come to mind, put some cheap animation over it, and no one will care because it's just a TV movie. And I'm not looking for Shakespearean level wit or anything in a Scooby-Doo movie, but if this is all you have to offer, you're not making yourselves look very good, is all I'm saying. And then we go into more preparation for the match, then more lame jokes, more preparation, then more lame jokes, and so on, and so on, and so on. The only time they ever diverge from this is when they focus on the film's villain, Revolta, an evil witch who wants to kidnap the girls and use them as her minions.
Soon I will have those good little ghouls in my grasp, and then I, Revolta, the Witch of the Web, will be the most powerful witch in all of monsterdom.
Too soon. So after what feels like an eternity, we finally get to the volleyball match. Whoa, 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 whoa! What the hell are the boys wearing? Okay, look, I know it's volleyball and everything, but you don't have to look like Bruno every time you come and play. And here I thought this movie wasn't going to have any creepy undertones. Oh god, what does that colonel do to them?
Let's flip to see who serves first.
No problem.
Ow! Okay, bad idea.
That girl's flip.
And now we partake in what is perhaps the most rigged game of volleyball ever. Yeah, I don't think turning into a bat or using bandages to pull the ball back really counts as fair play. And on top of that, the boys plant a device on the ball to control wherever it goes. You would think when the ball is moving on its own or hovering around one of the players, that some inspection would be called for. I mean, what's the referee doing in all of this?
You're looking at him. Scrappy-Doo. I call him as I see him.
Oh, well that explains it then. So the two sides go back and forth with who's in the lead until Callaway are 2 points away from victory.
This jetpack will set you up to spike that serve, Grunt.
A jetpack. You use a jetpack in a volleyball game. What are the rules to this game, and how stupid do you have to be to let this slide? In fact, where did you even get a jetpack anyway? Wow guys, you have finished first in the not giving a shit race and taken home the gold. I hope you're proud of yourselves because that is a big achievement. But I digress. Grimwood end up winning the game and they walk away in the poorest walking animation ever. Oh yeah, can't you just see the blood, sweat, and tears that went into this? And now we go to the second half of the movie where everyone's preparing for open house.
Let me keep you out of the rain, Mr. Mop.
Thank you, Count. This rap isn't waterproof.
Ah, looks like Twilight wasn't the first to pussify the classic movie monsters after all. Yeah, I bet you're surprised to find out that this movie goes on for about an hour and a half. And for what? For Scooby and Shaggy to get scared off by the girl's parents and more set pieces that lead to more unbearably obvious jokes? Okay, there's more to it than that since they show the parents the trophy, but the whole movie feels like it's going through the same cycle constantly. It's making it trudge on and feel much longer than it really is, so give me something to make me feel like I'm not wasting my time! But I digress. After the open house, all the parents go up to Shaggy and Scooby and tell them that if anything happens to their daughters, they'll make them pay.
Elsa's my pride and joy. Don't let me down.
Take care of Tanis and her friends, or you're going to meet a very mad mummy.
And no, the parents don't rip the two to shreds at the end. Yeah, I wanted to see it too, you're not alone. Speaking of plot points that have a much darker context, Revolta sends her minions out to put her kidnapping plan into action. Her first step is to brainwash Shaggy, a task that shouldn't be too hard to accomplish. Look at this image, guys. This is meant to strike fear into the hearts of your kiddies. These reject Halloween wuzzles that shoot out sparkling webs. Damn it, I used my Twilight joke too early. Anyway, the bats easily brainwash Shaggy, surprise there, and Revolta commands him to take all the girls out into the bog for a jog where they'll be most vulnerable. And the next day, he does exactly that. Meanwhile, we see the cadets are going into the same bog for a training exercise. And you can see how well that goes for them.
Quick, help us out! But why? Swimming in quicksand is fun.
Okay, I know the whole shtick with these girls is that they see whatever's dangerous and gross as normal, but this isn't something like mud, it's quicksand! The more you move in it, the deeper you sink, so you wouldn't be able to practice your breaststrokes, and no pun intended. Not now. So the girls help the boys out and they both go on their way. Meanwhile, we see Revolta's right-hand man, who looks like a cross between a tentacle hentai and the Great Pumpkin, go after the girls along with the bats.
Oh, no fair, Sibylla. We're supposed to be jogging, not jetting.
Thank you for sparing us, you merciful abomination.
Gotcha!
Boy, have you got the wrong girl. Ow! Yeah.
Wow. You know, you'd think a werewolf would have some more savage tactics of combat than just bitch slapping a vine. So one by one, the Grim Creeper and the bats easily abduct the girls and brainwash them to follow Revolta's every will, with probably the most fabulous of headphones.
Yes, Sibylla, we're here. Come down.
We want to show you something.
We're watching Marley and me while getting banged. It's so sad. Pass the chips. So again, showing us how responsible they are, Shaggy and Scooby finally catch up with the girls after being separated from them, and find something very off about them.
Revolta doesn't want you. Get out.
No dogs allowed.
Gotcha!
So the shack then flies off by rocket-powered brooms. Sure, why not? And with the help of matches, Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy follow after it to Revolta's castle.
Like we'd need wings to get up there.
Leave it to us, Shaggy. Da-da-da-da-da-da! Puppy power! Make that a Scrappy and Matches power!
Matches, you really don't want to be affiliated with Scrappy. Trust me, you can do better than that. But they better hurry up, as Revolta's gonna put a spell on them to make them her slaves permanently. Or evil if you want to get technical.
I'm preparing a spell to make them evil forever. At the stroke of midnight, I'm going to revoltize them.
Revoltize them? Ooh, how revolting.
As expected, sentient vegetables don't have a very wide vocabulary. So the gang make it inside the castle and pretty much enter a G-rated Dungeons & Dragons game, complete with dark, spooky corridors, monsters to get past, enchanted objects that want to kill you, locks to unlock, and of course, hidden doors. It's like the writer got so bored with the story that they just copied one of their sessions from the D&D 2nd edition. Though I'm only spitballing that it's D&D 2nd edition, since that came out in 1987 and this film came out a year later, so that means... Sorry, I went on a little tangent there. At least I was going to go on a little tangent, you know. I digress. The gang eventually make it to Revolta's lab, but it looks like it's too late as the evil potion has already taken effect on them. Revolta turns Scooby into a frog, and while avoiding her attacks, knocks over a whole bunch of different potions into the cauldron, which restores the girls back to normal. Or turns them brain dead. And for some reason, the whole castle starts to crumble because of it. They're all rescued in the nick of time by the cadets, riding a flying bike that even Ed, Edd and Eddy would call bullshit on. And the day is saved. Hooray! So to celebrate, all the girls and boys party back at the Ghoul School while listening to the sweet rhymes of... Scrappy-Doo.
So with the cadets it was a snap to escape Revolta's...
Nope, all of my nope. That is where I draw the line. So instead, I am going to listen to something that actually treats its listeners with a little bit more respect. Wait, why do I have this on my iPhone? So everything now seems to be okay at the Ghoul School, and just in time for the new students to arrive.
Students like meet us in St. Louis. Yeah, real annoying.
Scooby and Shaggy do what they should have done long ago and drive off. The girls say goodbye, taking Shaggy leaving surprisingly well. Yeah, we killed all the other teachers that made us lose the volleyball games before, so this is actually pretty tame. And the events of this movie will never be mentioned ever again. So that was Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School, and even keeping in mind that this is a Hanna-Barbera TV movie, this is still pretty bad. The problems with this movie should be self-evident. The plot is all over the place, the characters are one-dimensional and uninteresting, the jokes were written effortlessly, and the animation likewise. I mean, there's a fair amount to riff on if you decide to watch it, but it's just the lack of care that you can see coming from the film and how incessant the puns are that just make it so annoying to watch. So it doesn't even feel fun to riff on it because it takes so long to get to the funny stuff. So maybe it's just me saying this, but I'm calling this film for what it is. Idiotic and lazy. Well, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of mine, and if you have any more recommendations about what I should do next, just leave me a comment below or send me an email at mediadusk@gmail.com. That's again, mediadusk@gmail.com, because my stammer has been so bad in this video that I need to emphasize that a lot. So, until next time, I'm the Media Dusk, analyzing what makes us laugh on Comedy Critiques.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some help from you now. Come on, Scooby-Doo, I see you.